What if I told you that one of the world's oldest cities is still vibrant, noisy, and a little crazy in the best way? When I planned my first vacation to Athens, I thought I knew what to anticipate. Old stones. Massive ruins as I had seen in schoolbooks. I have been to Rome. I have walked in London. I have been in old cities before. So I imagined Athens would be the same. I was wrong. Athens isn't a museum city. It breathes. It shouts. It sweats in the heat. It smells of cooked meat, dust, and sea air all at once. Yes, it is historic, but it is also rugged, warm, and real. The trip lasted slightly under 2 weeks. 13 days of strolling, getting lost, sitting at small cafes, and watching life pass by. I traveled alone as I always do. This meant I could move slowly, change plans quickly. I could sit in one place for hours if I wanted to. Some days I walked for miles. Other days, I rode taxis across the city to reach hills, beaches, or ruins located far away from the ancient heart. I occasionally joined a tour. Sometimes it was just me, a map, and my feet. In this episode, I'll share what it was like to see Athens for the first time through experienced eyes. What surprised me? Things felt familiar. What didn't? I'll talk about expenses, locations worth visiting, local activities, and how Athens compares to other cities I've visited. So, let me ask you this. What happens when a seasoned traveler visits one of the most ancient cities for the first time? Let's head to Athens. After a lengthy flight, I stepped into warm air that smelt dry and salty. The city didn't try to charm me at first. It felt rough around the edges. Busy. A little worn. But I've come to trust cities like that. They often provide more if you stay longer. I stayed at Plaka, which is close to Athens' historic center. Since then, I've walked nearly every day. If you go at your own pace, Athens is a city suited for walking. Hills rise quickly. Streets twist. Shade comes and goes. It reminded me of Rome in terms of age, but not in atmosphere. Rome is proud. Athens feels tough. Rome boasts. Athens simply shrugs and says, "This is how it is." My days generally started early. Mornings are important in Athens since the heat builds up quickly. I would walk to the Acropolis before the crowds gathered. The Acropolis ticket cost around €30 and provided entry to multiple attractions. Pricey, definitely. But it's worth it. Standing there felt different than I'd imagined. I've seen several famous sites previously. This one felt heavier. Not only is it old, but it is also significant. The Parthenon towered over the city, as if it still ruled it. Modern Athens went on. The view extended to the sea. Later that day, I went for a stroll through the Acropolis Museum. It costs roughly €15 to enter. It confirmed what I'd just seen. Concentrating on the place rather than the museum was interesting to me. In general, the afternoons were slow. Cafes have developed into relaxing places. In Athens, a cup of coffee costs between €3 and €4. For about an hour, I would watch the locals arguing, laughing, and smoking. In that regard, it felt more like Istanbul than Paris. I took another walk at night. Monastiraki and Plaka come alive. The sound of street music echoed. Old walls are lit up with lights. One day I took a taxi to Lycabettus Hill. I decided to use a taxi, although you can walk it. Athens sprawled in every direction from the top. White buildings and blue sea. It appeared brighter and flatter than the sights I saw in Lisbon. Not all of the days were spent in the city. Cape Saunion, located about 70 kilometers from Athens, was a popular getaway. I spent €60 for the half-day tour. It came with a guide and transport. The Temple of Poseidon stood high above the ocean. Windy, silent, imposing. Unlike Athens, it was a magnificent place to watch the sunset. Dinner was simple. Grilled meat, bread and salad. A decent meal will cost you between €15 and €20. I took a walk in the Acropolis Museum later that day. It cost about €15 for a ticket. It confirmed what I had just seen. Picking the site above the museum was wonderful for me. One day, I went on a guided city walking tour. It cost €40 and took 4 hours. We visited the ancient agoras, as well as some small side alleyways that I would have missed. The guide brought the story to life. I don't go on tours every day, but doing so in Athens was great. If purchased alone, the ancient agora admission cost approximately €10. Walking there seemed like reliving an earlier time period. This was not a palace. This was where people talked, shopped, and lived. Some days I took taxis. They were cheap by my standards. A trip across the city often costs €8 to €12. Although Athens traffic can be chaotic, drivers are familiar with the city, so a taxi can save you time and energy. Not all days were spent in the city. Another long day took me to Delphi, around 180 kilometers away. This was a full-day guided tour that cost about €90, including entry. Delphi felt like a mountain town. Green, cool, and sacred. It reminded me of trips I've had to the Andes, where land and spirit merge. Delphi felt less crowded than Athens and more focused. But I felt glad to return to the noise later that night. I took a tram to the coast near the city. The ride cost approximately €2. Many beaches bordered the coast. Nothing fancy. Yet it felt amazing to see the sea after so much stone. Athens surprised me with its layers. Some streets felt tired. Graffiti covering the walls. But then you turn a corner and find beauty. A little church. A cat sleeping in the sun. A bakery that smelt like home. Athens felt less polished than Rome. Compared to Barcelona, it is less stylish. But it seemed genuine. As if it didn't mind what you thought. As a solo traveler, that worked for me. There is no pressure. There's no need to hurry. I felt comfortable yet careful. I dressed casually. I walked with purpose. Athens appreciated that. By the end of the trip, I had realized something. Athens is not trying to impress you. It waits. And if you remain long enough, it will let you in. Leaving Athens seemed strange. I didn't fall in love immediately. And maybe that is the point. Athens grows on you. Day after day. Step by step. This trip reminded me of why I travel alone. Freedom to listen. To change the pace. To sit with a city rather than rush through it. Athens isn't a highlight reel. It is a long story. One you journey through, sweat through, and eventually understand. If you're considering visiting, don't only plan the sights. Plan the pauses. The cafes. The quieter moments. Because Athens is more than simply what you can see. It's about what lingers with you after you leave.